Only 3 worlds remain. 3 worlds before I have to kiss my beans goodbye. I can't believe we have made it thus far. The last 3 worlds we've conquered have been absolutely brutal. So brutal that I found myself seeing Michael Jackson in my sleep. This immense difficulty spike had me worried beyond all belief for Jurassic Marsh. But then, I kicked this world's ass. To be honest, I think Jurassic Marsh might be the easiest world in the whole game, but on the plus side, there's dinosaurs. So let's go and bean all over this world, but before that, why don't you subscribe so I can take over PopCap from the inside out. Jurassic Marsh starts on day 1, where we surprisingly do not see this world's gimmick. Day 1 was the most basic of basic days, with only coneheads, bucketheads, and a new zombie type, who I'm going to call the Head, coming in to give us head. Even with this new zombie type, day 1 is beaten with ease. Moving on to day 2, we are finally introduced to Jurassic Marsh's world gimmick, dinosaurs. And guys, I hate to say it, but I don't think I like the red one. I'm more of a green dinosaur connoisseur these days, but right now, we have to deal with Mr. Blue Balls over here. All Mr. Blue Balls does is give a zombie a big old kick, sending them further down the lane they're in. They also get kicked over my beans, but this is pretty much ignored just by placing my bean sprout further back. Besides this new dinosaur, day 2 was beaten with ease. Day 3 was a conveyor belt level, so we move on to day 4, which once again was a pretty run-of-the-mill day with a lot of higher health zombies, but luckily for me, I have the Sun Bean, meaning all these higher health zombies actually work to my advantage. In Jurassic Marsh, in particular, the Sun Bean is pretty busted due to the amount of high health zombies, which is probably why I consider this world to be the easiest in the entirety of Plants vs Zombies 2. Needless to say, day 4 was piss easy, and I'm running out of ways to say a day was easy. We move on to day 5, which was once again another basic run-of-the-mill day with nothing new introduced. I'm starting to see a theme in this world where it's just refusing to introduce anything other than dinosaurs, and to be honest, after the disaster that was Neon Mixtape Tour, I'm perfectly okay with that. On day 6, we meet our next dinosaur, the red one. Now, what the red one does is he just flings a zombie into a random lane without rhyme or reason. He doesn't make the day any harder, but he is still a minor inconvenience. Even with this new dinosaur, day 6 was once again pretty easy, and I find myself already bored with this world. Day 7 was a conveyor belt level, and surprisingly, one of 3 days that I actually didn't beat first try. Since it's not a beanable day, I'm not going to tell you how I failed, because I don't quite feel like it. Day 8 was easily done though, and guys, I'm gonna be real, there is absolutely nothing going on in this world. Like, even when I was writing the script, I had no clue what the hell I was gonna talk about. Trying to find different ways of saying I beamed all over the place is tough, when the days have no challenge to them. This game's difficulty is as inconsistent as my streaming schedule. Speaking of, all my gameplay is streamed live over at twitch.tv/Whoie, so why don't you come on by and watch me suffer. We then move on to day 9, which was beaten with given plants, and then in day 10, something minorly interesting finally happens. We meet the paracetamol dinosaur, who I thought would be much more of a threat, since they pick up a zombie and drop them near the back of a lane, allowing them to attack from behind. But since the bean sprout has the simple ability to just turn around, they didn't really put up much of a challenge anyway, so I really wish the dinosaurs in this world were a bit more interesting, to be honest, maybe a bit more menacing, because right now they're just cutie patooties. From here, nothing interesting really happens until day 12, which was the second day in this world that I couldn't beat first try. The gimmick of this day is you could not lose more than 6 plants, and with a Garg coming in the top lane, the first attempt I did, I in fact lost more than 6. But then I went through the day again and kicked its ass, so I don't even know why I brought it up, it's pretty irrelevant. After day 12, we didn't encounter anything interesting until day 15. On day 15, we have to defend 2 primal walnuts, which surprisingly wasn't the problem here since they have an obscene amount of health. The only issue was the final zombie was a Garg coming down the middle lane, and I wasn't prepared for, but still, I somehow managed to beat day 15 on my first try. We then move on to day 16, which was the final day that I didn't manage to beat on my first attempt, but since it was a conveyor belt level anyway, it doesn't really matter. It just surprises me that the hardest days in Jurassic Marsh were days that were completely irrelevant to my bean-only challenge. I'm starting to think after Neon Mixtape Tour, the devs saw the immense difficulty and just went full baby mode for this world. Once day 16 has passed, nothing interesting happened again until day 20, where we had to produce 2,000 sun on what is otherwise a very simple, short day. But on this day, I made a discovery that will help me on every single sun-producing day going forward. If you delay the very final zombie in a sun-producing day with a spring bean, and keep feeding them sunbeans, then the amount of sun you will gain dramatically increases as the sunbeam stacks on the same zombie, exponentially increasing how much sun you will gain. So after delaying the final zombie with the spring bean for a couple of minutes and constantly feeding it a sunbeam, I managed to gain over 4,000 sun just off this one singular zombie, which meant I beat day 20 with ease, just like every other day in this goddamn world. Once we complete day 20, we move on to a few more basic days, and then we go to day 23, where we are introduced to the next dinosaur, the T-Rex, who is without a doubt the best dinosaur in this game. I mean, just look at him, he's just a silly little guy. What the T-Rex does is he manages to speed up all the zombies near him, making him the most threatening dinosaur with ease. But even with a T-Rex, day 23 was child's play. We then move on to day 24 and 25, which were once again two very easy days. The only reason I'm bringing up day 25 is because the very final dinosaur is introduced. The spiky dino boy. What this little fella does is he forcefully shoves a zombie directly into my beans, pushing them pretty far back. Think of it as a way to turn a regular zombie into a far worse version of the all-star mech zombie. It's also worth pointing out, around this time we were introduced to yet another new zombie type, and I'm pretty sure he was the only new zombie type we saw in the whole world, and I'm calling him the Neanderthal zombie. What this guy does is absolutely nothing. He's just got a little bit more health. And as I said before, a zombie with more health, that's only a good thing in my book. With the final zombie type and the final dinosaur type introduced, it was then just a straight shot to the Zomboss. We then commence the easiest Zomboss fight. Genuinely, I don't know how we went from something so difficult by fighting Zomboss in the Neo Mixtape Tour to this piece of piss fight. Needless to say, Zomboss went down faster than a granny on a flight of stairs. And with that, Jurassic Marsh is over. Honestly, this world was pretty fun, but it was way too easy. I enjoyed the gimmick of it, and the dinosaurs were cool and cute, just as they should be, but I feel as if it's rather anticlimactic if the rest of the worlds in PvZ2 are gonna be this easy. With this confidence in mind, while I was streaming this footage, I went straight into Big Wave Beach right after Jurassic Marsh, and oh man, that was a big mistake. But that's a story for another day. I hope you guys are all ready, because I am about to tackle Big Wave Beach, and I will try my very best to not go insane.